Namaste, Dandavat Pranam. By the instruction and grace of our spiritual master, Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Mahārāja, we are here reading Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Canto 4, The Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 22, Text 24. Ahimshaya Paramahamsacharyaya Smritya Mukunda Charitagriya Sidhun Yamhar Akamar Niyamaischapyanindai Nirihayadvanvatitikshaya. A candidate for spiritual advancement must be non-violent, must follow in the footsteps of great acharyas, must always remember the nectar of the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, must follow the regulative principles without material desire, and while following the regulative principles, should not blaspheme others. A devotee should lead a very simple life and not be disturbed by the duality of opposing elements. He should learn to tolerate them. Purport. The devotees are actually saintly persons or sadhus. The first qualification of a sadhu or a devotee is ahimsa or non-violence. Persons interested in the path of devotional service or in going back home, back to Godhead, must first practice ahimsa or non-violence. A sadhu is described as titikshava, karunika. This is Bhagavatam 3.25.21. A devotee should be tolerant and should be very much compassionate toward others. For example, if he suffers personal injury, he should tolerate it. But if someone else suffers injury, the devotee need not tolerate it. The whole world is full of violence, and a devotee's first business is to stop this violence, including the unnecessary slaughter of animals. A devotee is the friend not only of human society, but of all living entities. For he sees all living entities as sons of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He does not claim himself to be the only Son of God and allow all others to be killed. Thinking that they have no soul, this kind of philosophy is never advocated by a pure devotee of the Lord. Suridha sarva dehinam. A true devotee is the friend of all living entities. Krishna claims in Bhagavad Gita to be the father of all species of living entities. Consequently, the devotee of Krishna is always a friend of all. This is called ahimsa. Such non-violence can be practiced only when we follow in the footsteps of great acharyas. Therefore, according to our Vaishnava philosophy, we have to follow the great acharyas of the four sampradayas or disciplic successions. Trying to advance in spiritual life outside of the disciplic succession is simply ludicrous. It is said, therefore, Acharya van Purusho Veda. One who follows the disciplic succession of acharyas knows things as they are. Chandyoga Upanishad 6.14.2. Tadvigyanartam saguram eva bigachet. In order to understand the transcendental science, one must approach the bona fide spiritual master, Mundaka Upanishad 1.2.12. The word smritya is very important in spiritual life. Smritya means remembering Krishna always. Life should be molded in such a way that one cannot remain alone without thinking of Krishna. We should live in Krishna so that while eating, sleeping, walking, and working, we remain only in Krishna. Our Krishna Consciousness Society recommends that we arrange our living so that we can remember Krishna. In our ISKCON society, the devotees, while engaged in making spiritual sky incense, are also hearing about the glories of Krishna or his devotees. The Shastra recommends Smartavyaha Satatam Vishnu. Lord Vishnu should be remembered always, constantly. Vishmartavyo Najatuchit. Vishnu should never be forgotten. That is the spiritual way of life. Smritya. This remembrance of the Lord can be continued if we hear about him constantly. It is therefore recommended in this verse, Mukunda Charita Griha Sidhuna. Sidhu means nectar. To hear about Krishna from Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita or similar authentic literature is to live in Krishna consciousness. Such concentration in Krishna consciousness can be achieved by persons who are strictly following the rules and regulative principles. We have recommended in our Krishna consciousness movement that a devotee chant 16 rounds on beads daily and follow the regulative principles. That will help the devotee be fixed in his spiritual advancement in life. It is also stated in this verse that one can advance by controlling the senses, yamai. By controlling the senses, one can become a Swami or Goswami. One who is therefore enjoying this super title, Swami or Goswami, must be very strict in controlling his senses. Indeed, he must be master of his senses. This is possible when one does not desire any material sense gratification. If by chance the senses want to work independently, he must control them. If we simply practice avoiding material sense gratification, controlling the senses is automatically achieved. Another important point mentioned in this connection is anindaya. We should not criticize others' methods of religion. There are different types of religious systems operating under different qualities of material nature. Those operating in the modes of ignorance and passion cannot be as perfect as that system in the mode of goodness. In Bhagavad Gita, everything has been divided into 3 qualitative divisions. Therefore, religious systems are similarly categorized. When people are mostly under the modes of passion and ignorance, their system of religion will be of the same quality. A devotee, instead of criticizing such systems, will encourage the followers to stick to their principles so that gradually they can come to the platform of religion and goodness. Simply by criticizing them, a devotee's mind will be agitated. Thus, a devotee should tolerate and learn to stop agitation. Another feature of the devotee is nirihaya, simple living. Niriha means gentle, meek, or simple. A devotee should not live very gorgeously and imitate a materialistic person. Plain living and high thinking are recommended for a devotee. He should accept only so much as he needs to keep the material body fit for the execution of devotional service. He should not eat or sleep more than is required. Simply eating for living and not living for eating, and sleeping only 6 to 7 hours a day are principles to be followed by devotees. As long as the body is there, it is subjected to the influence of climatic changes, disease, natural disturbances, the threefold miseries of material existence. We cannot avoid them. Sometimes we receive letters from neophyte devotees questioning why they have fallen sick, although pursuing Krishna consciousness. They should learn from this verse that they have to become tolerant dvandva titikshaya. This is the world of duality. One should not think that because he has fallen sick, he has fallen from Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness can continue without impediment from any material position. Lord Sri Krishna therefore advises in Bhagavad Gita 2.14, Tam Stitikshava Bharata. My dear Arjuna, please try to tolerate all these disturbances. Be fixed in your Krishna conscious activities. Text 25. Hare muhustat parakarna pura kunha bidhanena vidrimbamnanya bhaktyahya sangha sad asatyanatmani syanirgune brahmani chanjasarati. The devotee should gradually increase the culture of devotional service by constant hearing of the transcendental qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These pastimes are like ornamental decorations on the ears of devotees. By rendering devotional service and transcending the material qualities, one can easily be fixed in transcendence in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. This verse is especially mentioned to substantiate the devotional process of hearing the subject matter. A devotee does not like to hear anything other than subjects dealing with spiritual activities, or the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We can increase our propensity for devotional service by hearing Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam from these realized souls. The more we hear from realized souls, the more we make advancement in our devotional life. The more we advance in devotional life, the more we become detached from material world. The more we become detached from the material world as advised by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the more we increase in attachment for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, a devotee who actually wants to make progress in devotional service and go back home, back to Godhead, must lose interest in sense enjoyment and associating with persons who are after money and sense gratification. This is the advice of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Niskinchanasya Bhagavad Pajanon Mukasya Param Param Jigamisur Bhavasagrasya Niskinchanasya Bhagavad Bhajanon Mukasya Param Param Jigamishur Bhavasagrasya Sandarshanam Vishayinam Atayoshitam Cha Hahanta Hanta Visha Bhakshanato Pyasadu. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 11.8. The word Brahmani used in this verse is commented upon by the impersonalists or professional reciters of Bhagavatam. But who are mainly advocates of the caste system by demoniac birthright. They say that Brahmani means impersonal Brahman. But they cannot conclude this with reference to the context of the words bhaktya and gunabhidhanena. According to the impersonalists, there are no transcendental qualities in the impersonal Brahman. Therefore, we should understand that Brahmani means in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as admitted by Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, wherever the word Brahma is used, it must refer to Krishna, not to the impersonal Brahman effulgence. Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavan Ityashabdyate. Bhagavatam 1.2.11. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan can all be taken in total as Brahman. But when there is reference to the word bhakti or remembrance of transcendental qualities, this indicates the Supreme Personality of Godhead not the impersonal Brahman. And thus ends our reading for today. We'll continue from text 26 on Friday. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Sripad Bhakti Madhava Puri Mahārāja ki Jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Guru Dev, Srila Acharya Dev, Srila Shanta Maharaj ki Jai. Jai Rupa Nuga Guru Varga ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the worldwide devotees. Sama Bhaktivedanta Vrinda ki Jai. Jai Navadvip Dham ki Jai, Nishangapali Dham ki Jai, Mayapur Dham ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham ki Jai, Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Ju ki Jai, Ganga Mai Yamuna Mai ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham ki Jai, Giri Govardhan Gupta Govardhan Dham ki Jai, Shyam Kund Radha Kund ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Vrinda Devi ki Jai, Jai Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Jai Harinam Sankirtan Yagya ki Jai, Scientific Sankirtan Yagya ki Jai, Princeton Bhaktivedanta Institute ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Institute ki Jai, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki Jai, Nitai Gauda Premanandi, Hari 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 Bol, Jai Srimati Uma Devi Dasi ki Jai.
जय गुरुदेव श्रीपाद कृष्ण केशव प्रभु जी की जय। दंडवत प्रणाम।
Dandavat Pranam Didi. Hari Bol.
जय कृष्ण।